Alright, so now let's talk about our rules of self-defense. So within our school and our martial arts system, we have 3 rules of self-defense. First rule is always be aware. So that means always pay attention. Always pay attention to your surroundings. If you're walking somewhere, pay attention to where you're walking, what's in front of you, what's behind you. Not just what people are in front of you, which is important, but also what things are in front of you. If you avoid the people that make you feel scared, but then you walk into a hole and break your leg, then that really doesn't help. So you have to watch for things and for people that might be dangerous in front, around, and behind you. Also watch for places where dangerous people or things could be. You know, in a bunch of bushes, someone could be hiding to attack you, but also there could be a dog or a snake or something like that. So that's rule number 1, always be aware. Rule number 2 is always protect your bubble. Always keep your circle. And by that, what we mean is your circle, your personal space circle, is the length of your arms here. Now, don't walk around like this all day. People will think you're kind of weird. But get used to this distance. Don't let anyone that you don't trust into that circle, into that distance. Now, if we're going to do that with a partner, let me borrow my assistant again. So if she's standing there and I come over, I'm a stranger. Now I'm in her circle. I'm too close. But now she's being aware, she's being alert. If I walk over and try to grab, she can move away. She can move to where she stays out or keeps me out of her circle. If it's possible, she could always just move straight back. Right? And she could take her guard. In a situation where maybe you're walking down the street, let's say she starts over there, and let's pretend this is a street and she walks this way. Go ahead, start walking. And I'm a bad guy. If I get in her circle, I could easily grab. So really what we should do is when she walks, go ahead, walk. She should walk away so that I stay out of her circle. Thank you. So that's rule number 2, protect your circle, your personal space. Rule number 3, run away if you can. It's okay to run away from a confrontation. It's okay to run away from an attack, but try to run to safety. Run to a safe place. Or my joke is always watch a scary movie and do the opposite of what those people do. Run to a place that has people, preferably people in uniforms. As if it's dark, make sure the place has lots of lights if it's not outside. And run to a place where you can contact someone or get help. So that's the 3 rules of self-defense. Always be aware, protect your circle, run if you can. This is our self-defense. This is for kids. So this is a situation where you've been knocked down. So this is our kid. She's been knocked down. So from here to the bat, if they get to the side, they can easily stomp or they can kick, they can hit you real easy. So the bad guy comes over to grab. She's going to get in her crab walk. She supports herself with her hands in the back, feet there. As I get closer, she's going to kick. She'll kick the shins, kick the shins. Now, once I get in this position, if I'm the bad guy and I start to try to bend over and grab, she's going to crab walk away as she's kicking. Just like that. When she sees that she's far enough away from me, got enough distance, she's going to take one arm, sling it over, get in a runner's position, then run away like you're running track. Okay. Kids self-defense, the first one we're going to do today is the grab the wrist. Now this one could happen sometimes. A bad guy, an attacker, could be walking up and they may come up next to a young person and grab one hand to one wrist. Okay? Since most people in the world are right-handed, we're going to do this as if the bad guy is right-handed. When we do this technique though, keep in mind that some of the self-defense techniques we'll use our basics, like the horse stance, and we'll be doing that in this. So when you do this technique, one thing you're going to have to do is make a chicken wing, or chicken fist, chicken hand, whatever you want to call it. So you're going to take all your fingers and your thumb and point them together in a point, and then bend your hand in as far as you can. All right? So when the bad guy grabs the wrist, you'll make your hand into that. Then from there, let's say I'm walking, someone grabs my right hand, I step back into a horse stance, put this hand here, and I drop my weight and pull down all at once. Okay? Now, I will have my assistant come over here and we'll do this together. So this is my assistant. So now let's imagine that I am a bad guy and I walk through and maybe she is not aware and I grab her wrist here. Now she's going to take her opposite hand or opposite leg as the hand that's being grabbed, step back into a horse stance, get deep, and then drop the weight and knock it down. Let's do it again. So with a real far back horse stance and drop it down. If you need to, you can take the other hand and push on their hand or their arm at the same time your hand drops down. So try that. No. And push and at the same time. Then, after you're free, turn and run away to safety. That's right, run away to safety. That goes with our 3 rules of self-defense. Alright, so now another self-defense for young people is the clamps. This is if someone's coming up, a bad guy, and they're going to grab you. So what you do, these are our 2 helpers, our 2 young people here. Take your right hand, grab your own wrist on your left hand. Take your left hand, grab the other wrist, so it's like this. Okay? Now, if you're by yourself and doing this, you could put your clamps, your arms, around something like a post or a street sign or anything you can grab. But if you're with a person, you'll do a clamp chain. So if I'm over here, I'm about to grab her, they do a clamp chain. Now, if I'm the bad guy, I have to pull both of them. Like that. Right? And also, there you go, don't forget to yell as you're doing that. Yell stranger, or this is not my dad. Right? And if you keep that together, it's very strong, but also it looks weird. If I'm a bad guy, I'm grabbing you, and strangers are walking by seeing you 2 are fighting me, they're like, well, that's weird, maybe there's danger there, right? But if you're calm and you're just kind of like trying to fight calmly, then that will not send up the signal that you need help. So it's okay to scream, ask for help, tell people this is not someone you know. Does things. An advanced stance that we also do is the shield stance. Now this is used in hand-to-hand, it's used in self-defense, but really where it really shines is in the close quarters, in the really close up, your short range distance attack, right? And it's going to start a lot like a tower stance or a dragon stance. We start here, step that dominant leg out. You could go either, but I always prefer a dominant leg in these situations. Hands come up, and their hands are right here on the sides of your head. You can't even hold them here, but I prefer it this way. Reason being, if you have your hands here and someone hits you really hard, it could knock into your head. This way, they're already there, okay? So this is your stance. This is in close, so imagine the opponent, the attacker, the bad guy, is right in front of you, this close. So I'm here. So from here, I can elbow strike, I can do a real short palm strike, I can keep up with my blocks, I can step in, I can maneuver over with those elbows, I can outside block. You really can't inside block well with this stance at that range. You can knee strike. You can do a dragon kick. All those things are options to you there. But it is a short range stance. So you are going to have to move into that range to use it, or someone's moved on to you very quickly and you've been forced to use it. It does work. Well, the reason why we call it the shield stance is because if you look at one of our stances in armored combat, really similar. And it's really similar to like a boxing stance, except we're just going all the way in. So that is shield stance. A basic stance is the tower stance. We also call it the self-defense stance, and that should kind of tell you a little bit about it. It's so basic that you can use it in basic beginner martial arts classes, self-defense classes, things like that. So it's sort of like a dragon stance. So if I'm starting from this angle, my imaginary opponent's in front of me, just standing here normal. Whichever my dominant side is, I'm right-handed, so right side forward. Both of my arms are going to go up. If you think of this from a self-defense standpoint, it should be a fairly non-threatening thing. Someone's attacking you, they're threatening you. Hey buddy, I don't want any trouble. But you have this here, you have your hands already ready for the strike. For the strike to the eyes, palm strike, vertical strike, hammer fist even. You have all these options. Now, some people might say, you're leaving your bottom open for kicks. That might be true, but this is kind of that medium to long range stance. You don't want to be really close when this happens. So if you see someone kick at you, you're just going to move away. Just going to move away. If you need to get closer, you can. You can also, just like in the dragon stance, you can also switch to different stances from here. No problem. But really what I think the most important part to me is you can easily block and you can palm strike. And that is the tower stance. So the first exercise we'll be doing, I've seen several names for it. I always call it reach for the sky. So we can put our feet out about shoulder width apart, interlock your hands, put them up over your head. So you're going to breathe in to get started. Then you're going to breathe out, stretch up, come up on your toes, stretch as high as you can as you're breathing out. And breathe in and relax. Breathe out, push up. Breathe in, relax. Breathe out, push up. Breathe in, relax. Breathe out. Push up. Breathe in, relax. That traditionally was the first of the 8 pieces of brocade as I was taught. The second of the 8 pieces of brocade as I was taught is going to be pretty similar, except what we're going to do is one arm is going to be up here. Other arm is down. You're going to push the heavens and push the earth. So you breathe in, just to get started. Breathe out, push down and push up. Come up on your toes at the same time. Breathe in. Now from here we can switch, hold the ball, then go out and breathe out. Breathe in, switch, hold the ball, breathe out. Breathe in, switch, hold the ball, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Do that as many times as you need. You don't have to switch between each direction of the set. You can instead just breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, and breathe in. And then you can switch Do a couple more on that side. The third in the 8 pieces of brocade, as I was taught them, what we're going to do is start with our hands on our lower back, almost like the kidney area. You're going to take your left foot kind of pointed out to the angle. Then you're going to take your right foot, step it behind. Then you're going to breathe in and breathe out. Every time you breathe out, you're going to twist, almost like you're trying to pop your back, but don't really focus on that. So breathe out. Remember breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. In, out. And we switch. Right foot goes out, pointing at the angle. Left foot pointing at that angle. Both hands on the lower back. So breathe in. And when we turn, we're even going to look over the shoulder for extra effect. Breathe out. The next of the 8 pieces of brocade, as I was taught them, has the name of Cure 10,000 Diseases. In the Chinese, from my understanding, 10,000 doesn't mean the number 10,000 necessarily. It could also mean infinite, so cure infinite diseases. So the way I always teach it is we put our hands together, right hand is going for a switch over, grab your left wrist, and we'll look over your left side, and I'm going to pull down on my left shoulder with my right hand, just pulling motion. But as I do that, I'm going to turn my body, look over my left shoulder, and breathe out. Breathe in, and breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Now I'm going to switch, go the other side, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. One last time, breathe out. Now, I'm just doing those a few times for training purposes. Do those as many or as less as you like. The next in the 8 pieces of brocade, as I teach it and as I was trained and as I understand it, we're going to step out. Think of this almost like a horse stance. Hands on your hips. Going to breathe in. Slowly go down and out. Straighten out that back leg as you do it. Breathe in and breathe out. Now we can add our arms into it. Breathe in and stretch. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. And repeat. The next in the 8 pieces of brocade, the archer's position or archer's pose. You can do this a couple different ways. I've seen it done a variety. So, got a pretty self-explanatory name. Pretend like you have a bow and arrow. So we're going to breathe in, breathe out. Pull your bow back. Breathe in and switch. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now we're doing this in a horse stance right now, but as we do it, we can turn it into a bow stance even. And even the opposite direction. back to the horse. When you do these, always find what is best for you, what's most comfortable for you, and what gives you the best results. Now, in the next one, I always called it stomping dragon. For the reason there's a lot of dragon names in my school. But I think the traditional Chinese is something like stomping and punching with intent in the distance. A very complicated name like that. So, we're going to get in our horse stance, or something similar, whatever you can do. Arms up. We're going to do a circular motion. I always think of it as a block, but it doesn't have to be. So we're going to breathe in, breathe out. With a punch, you could do it with a push if you like. Breathe in, breathe out. 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 That is not a combat application, so do not get caught up in proper form of combat like that unless you're specifically trying to maintain a certain type of training. Now, the final technique in the way I teach 8 pieces brocade is not actually from the 8 pieces brocade. Instead, what I teach is actually from the live dead animals. And that's a whole nother can of worms to explain that. But just the simple Qigong that I really like from it. I think it does really well, so I always incorporated it into the 8 pieces brocade. So, this is dead bear. Hands here. So we're going to breathe in. Now, when you bring your left leg up, think of it like you're one of those old G.I. Joe action figures that your top can turn separate from your lower half. So left leg comes out, steps, arms come up, and down. And relax the back, let your arms hang. Right leg comes up, around, down, and again. Up, turn, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. That is dead bear.